Hello, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency, devoted to promoting musicians and authors worldwide. Call us today at 941-877-1552 to start your free publicity evaluation. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Please welcome the host of Interviewing the Legends, music journalist, author, and entrepreneur, Ray Shasho.
Hello once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends on BBS Radio, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call us today at 941-877-1552 or email us at publicityworksagency.com. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. As drummer for Vanilla Fudge, Carmine Appice set the grooves for the groundbreaking band's 1967 psychedelic debut, inadvertently inventing stoner rock in the process. The Fudge had no precedent. The band was totally unique. No rock group until that point had ever stretched out well-known pop tunes. Vanilla Fudge went on to tour with Jimi Hendrix, Cream, and even had Led Zeppelin as an opening act. Post-Fudge, Bogert and Appice formed Cactus. Post-Cactus, the rhythm section found Grammy-winning guitar hero Jeff Beck to form the first supergroup, Beck, Bogert and Appice. One of the premier showmen in rock, Appice became known worldwide for his astonishing live performances and a highly sought-after session drummer, recording with countless artists throughout his career. In 1976, he joined Rod Stewart's band, touring, recording, and writing two of Stewart's biggest hits, Do You Think I'm Sexy and Young Turks. He left Stewart to record his first solo album, Rockers, and tour Japan and North America with an all-star band. In 1978, Appice played drums on Paul Stanley's first solo album. In the early 1980s, he toured with Ozzy Osbourne, Ted Nugent. In the mid-80s, he formed King Cobra for two Capitol albums and international touring. In the late 80s, Carmine played on Pink Floyd's Momentary Lapse of Reason and formed a Blue Murder with Whitesnake's John Sykes and the firm's Tony Franklin. In the early 90s, he pounded away soul style for the Edgar Winter Group. As an educator, Carmine was the first to legitimize rock drumming with his landmark book, The Realistic Rock Drum Method, selling over 400,000 copies. He was the first rock drummer and rock musician to conduct instructional clinics and symposiums around the world, a tradition he continues. In appreciation for his universal appeal, Los Angeles was one of four cities that have had Carmine Appice Day. In 1991, he was forever immortalized by his induction in cement to the Hollywood's Rock Walk, next to Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich. In 2016, Carmine wrote an autobiography titled Stick It, which appeared on Amazon's bestsellers list. As a true artist, Carmine stretches the limits of his talents, always pursuing new experiences with a broad spectrum of musicians. His high standards have earned him the respect of the world's most admired performers, as well as captivating the loyalty of legions of fans. He has reshaped the path of music education, redesigned the very instrument he plays, and recreates excitement with every performer. Carmine Appice is truly a different drummer. Please welcome legendary drummer, singer, songwriter, and author, Carmine Appice, to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Carmine.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man.
Good, man. That was a hell of an intro.
Well, it's hard to get it all in there. You've done so much.
I know, right?
You know,
yeah, it's a long career, dude. It's a long career.
It really is. You know, I interview a lot of rock stars and celebrities, but you're the all-time multitasking champ.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll take that.
Oh, I've had Mark Stein on the show. We were talking about the Mark Stein project and, of course, Spirit of '67, which was an awesome album. Incredible.
Right, thank you.
I had Don Brewer on the show on Tuesday, another drummer. The last time I saw you was at the Rock and Blues Fest, and your rendition of "People Get Ready" was just incredible, man.
Right.
I was actually fortunate to see Curtis Mayfield sing it in 1971, but you're quite a singer besides being a drummer.
Well, thank you. Both of my popular songs, "People Get Ready" and "I'm So Proud" from the Beck, Bogert and Appice record, the Curtis Mayfield songs, "I'm So Proud" was his, and "People Get Ready" was his too. That's probably why we did "People Get Ready." Why we did "I'm So Proud" with BBA, because I had sang "People Get Ready" and I was like that, and I was like "I'm So Proud" as well.
You've got an album, Carmine Appice's Guitar Zeus. This was
Carmine. You got to correct that front name.
What did I say?
Carmine.
Oh, did I say Sorry about that. Carmine.
Yeah.
Now, this is the first ever album of its kind. It features 32 guitar icons with original songs, never done before. And it's an incredible album. I think it was released this year, I think, in January, right? The re-release?
Yes.
And, of course, it's available now. You can get it on Amazon. There's bonus songs on there. You've got one with Bumblefoot.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Are you on an internet line or something? Because you keep fading in and out.
Oh, really? Yeah, I am on a speaker. It's the only way we can do this recording.
Oh, okay. Because you're fading in and out a little bit. So I didn't hear what you said there. You're talking about the bonus track with Bumblefoot on it?
Yes.
Yeah. That was a track that wasn't on any of the albums previously. It was on a 24 track that I had in I have a place where I store all the 24 tracks from my past and different tapes and different things. I'm moving into another room that doesn't have as much echo.
Okay, cool.
So, so I took that 24 track and I actually bounced it to digital, and then I listened to it and I noticed that everything was on it except the guest guitar player. So I asked Bumblefoot if he would play on it. He was a friend of mine, and he said, yeah, he would. And then he did, and once he played on it, I needed more guitar parts, and my mixer, Stevie D, plays guitar. He's a real good player, and I asked him to heavy up some of the riffs, and I needed some fills at the end of the song. So to distinguish the Bumblefoot from Stevie, we put Stevie on the right and the left of the mix, right, doing the fills at the end of the song after the solo, and then when Bumblefoot continues his solo, it goes right down the middle. So it's some good ear candy when you're listening to it. You'll hear something coming out the vocal, and on the right guitar, and the left guitar, right guitar, left guitar, and down the middle. So if you listen to the whole record, a lot of the tracks, you'll notice there's a lot of really cool mixing ear candy, sort of like Beatles-ish,
Right.
We had radio voices and answering a lead, or just like in a song called Safe, it goes down to a mellotron, acoustic guitar, and a vocal. Usually the chorus goes up and builds up, but we wanted the chorus to build down on this one. To prepare for the midsection when Sharon does a raving, amazing solo, So that was the idea of the whole album, was just to make it a little different, and in the mixing we made it a little different also.
Well, I gave it 5 stars, Carmine. I said there's enough rock and roll on this album to last a lifetime.
Yeah, I agree. So far it has lasted since 95, 97. And, and I'm amazed that it still sounds current, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
because when we did it, we sort of used Soundgarden, Blue Murder, and the Beatles as influences for this record, you know. And the Beatles not only songwriting and harmonies, but mixing as well, you know, because you know the Beatles had, you know, George Martin had certain ways of mixing things that, you know, had lots of ear candy in it, and that's what we tried to do.
Yeah, speaking of the Beatles, Gonna Rain sounds very Beatlish with Richie Valens.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
Yes, it does. And that beginning is that drum part that I'm playing, but we turned it backwards.
Right.
So it starts backwards and then it turns into front waves, you know. It goes backwards into forward. And it reappears again as a breakdown at the end of the song, which goes into, I believe it's a 5/4 timing. And it tried to make it really a progressive album with good guitar playing, great songs, good vocals, great hooks, but not being like your everyday 4/4 songs, you know?
Right. Yeah, being a drummer, man, it's great because you can get all these legendary guitar players to play with you, you know?
Well, that was the idea.
Yeah.
You know, when I came up with the concept, I was playing with Jeff Watson, Bob Basie, and Joe Montana, and we were going to call the band Zeus. We ended up calling it Mother's Army.
Right.
But Jeff had just gotten out of Night Range and got a record deal for a solo album like that, you know? Because, man, I've been trying to get a record deal for about like 10 years. I had one 10 years ago.
Right.
Solo album, and I was trying to get a new one. I said, what do I need to do? Be a guitar player? And I said, well, maybe I'll get a bunch of guitar players to play on my record and call it like Guitar Gods. You know, I was kidding around. I said, I'll call it Guitar Zeus, you know? And that night when I went to bed, you know, when you're in bed and your mind is racing and start thinking of things,
right?
You know, I said, oh, you know, that's not a bad idea, you know? So then I started thinking about it, and I started thinking how I could facilitate it. And while I was thinking about it, it took me a couple of years to find somebody to get a record deal. I ran into guys like Ted Nugent and Brian May and the guys from King's X, and I asked them if I did this album, would they play on it? And they said, yeah. So I knew I had some guys on it, and good ones, Brian May, Ted Nugent. I thought between those two guys, they influenced so many guitar players that are famous at that point, you know. And also at the time, you know, grunge was king.
Right,
you know?
right.
And all us guys were like dinosaurs, you know. And nobody in America wanted to know about us. But in Europe and in Japan, it was still gung-ho, you know. So I ended up finding a guy in Warren Wyatt. He put the deal together out of Japan. Once I got the deal, I immediately called Brian and called Ted and had them pick the songs they wanted to do and send them tapes. You know, in Ted's situation, I actually went there to Michigan when he was in Michigan. Mm-hmm. And it was funny. He's over there recording, and he's got a pistol in the holster on the back of his belt while he's playing guitar. I thought that was funny.
Well, you know, an animal might run into the studio. You never know.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's just funny. He's playing music, and he's got a gun on his belt, you know?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, Yngwie had heard about it through Kelly Keeling, my singer. And he said he wanted to play on it. So in the same trip, I went to Florida first.
Right.
To get Yngwie. Then I went to Michigan to get Ted. Then I went to Houston and got the guys from King's X. So it took me about a week, you know, traveling around. But I got everybody on there. And with Brian, I had to send them the tapes, you know. And then some people I had to send tapes, and some people, the rest of the people were in the studio in L.A. So it was quite an experience, you know.
I think it's one of the best albums in several decades. I really do, you know. And
best albums in what?
And over several decades, it's the best album.
Thank you very much. I love it. I mean, I think it's the best stuff I've ever done. I mean, creatively, production-wise, great songs. You know, I just think the timing of it was a bit wrong for America. I did really well in Europe with it. I did well in Japan with it. I even did a Guitars Use Korea, a Guitars Use Japan. And, you know, I got a lot of mileage out of the project, you as a project. And, over the years, we probably sold 170,000 records around the world, everywhere but America, And, I tried to get it out 2004. The label came out, called it the Carmine Appice Project, put it on iTunes and put it on Spotify and that kind of stuff. I'm trying to get that stuff off because, it shouldn't be up there anymore. The label went out of business and they didn't have the right to put that up there.
Right.
So I don't know who's getting the money for it, but I'm certainly not. And then in 2009, I put it out again with Fuel Records. He just put out a double CD of the first and second album with no bonus tracks. And, same problem there. I was getting paid from that, but they didn't do anything for it,
Yeah.
I wanted this album to come out in America with a bit of PR like we're doing now, where people will know about it. Even though those two labels released it here, nobody knew about it. I mean, I don't even know if you knew about it. Did you know about it before this?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did. Well, you're one of the few. Not a lot. And then I was going to get a catalog deal for it now, just to get it released so people could buy it.
Right.
Where I would actually get the royalties because the Fuel label sold it to another company and they still have it up on all the digital platforms, and they're not supposed to. I'm trying to get it off because I'm doing press on this stuff, and somebody goes to Spotify and they see this version and other versions, but this version has the most. This has 33 tracks to it. The other ones don't have that many, and we have all the bonus tracks, which includes a Bumblefoot track,
right,
which was never released. A track called Angels with Shaw, who's the Jeff Beck of Japan, is a great song, great player. A song called Nothing that has John Norum on it from Europe.
Yep.
And Do You Think I'm Sexy with Pat Travis and myself. And so I'm missing one. I think that's it. So those are the bonus tracks, and they're not on the other copies available anywhere. We have it out on CD, but on CD, unfortunately, we only have 12 tracks. And then it's coming out on vinyl in a couple of weeks, so it's going to have 8 tracks.
Right.
So it goes down from 33 to 12 to 8. But the vinyl looks good. It's a colored vinyl, and the artwork is pretty cool. So, at least we're getting it out now. And, it was Robert DePaul from Premier Waves I did it. He said, look, you got to get it out, but you got to keep the digital rights because that's where it's all going. Because shortly Netflix is going to be getting out of downloads, and it's just going to be Apple streaming.
Right.
And he said, and the only ones that make money on that are the labels.
Yeah.
So, since I had the rights, he said, you should release it on your own label for digital. And if you want to get a catalog deal, that's fine.
Right.
But in trying to get a catalog deal, nobody wanted to take the charges without the digital rights. So I released it on my own label, Rocker Records, which I've had going for a few years. And I've got some, maybe 6 to 10 releases on there, including Cactus and me and Tim Bogert and Friends and me and Pat Travis and a couple other releases, Change Over Razors, which is a Chicago band. And I said, well, I'll just release it on that. So that's what we done. We released it on Rocker Records physically, and I did my own release on the digital.
Well, Carmine, I'm going to promote the hell out of it, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I've got 5 music sites that are very, very popular. This interview will go on iTunes and iHeartRadio, YouTube, and I work with a site out in Belgium as well. So a lot of people pick up my show. So yeah, we're gonna promote the hell out of this.
So do you play the songs too?
No, we don't play the songs, but I do. I feature the songs on my website, on the websites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How come you don't play songs on the podcast?
Well, we could, but I'm strictly about the interview because it's like a 1-hour show.
No.
I may do that. I may do that in the future.
Yeah, you should do a little teasers.
Yeah.
A minute of one, a couple, two or three.
Yeah, maybe we'll work on that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because it's such a unique conglomeration of players.
Right.
All in one place. It's never been done before like that, you know. I mean, there have been compilation albums of like Queen or Alice Cooper or Jeff Beck or Led Zeppelin where you get, you know, a few guitar players on an album, but nobody's ever had so many on a record, you know. That wasn't a tribute record.
Right.
That's an all original songs, except for Do You Think I'm Sexy, which I co-wrote, you know. But all the other songs are totally original. And the guys love these songs. I mean, Brian May called me when the album came out first. He said, man, I got a problem with the album. I said, oh, great. What's the problem? He goes, I played it for my staff and everyone loved it so much I need more copies. I said, oh, that's a good problem. You know?
I love your rendition of Do You Think I'm Sexy with Pat Travers. That's really very different.
Cool. We came up with that when we were rehearsing to do a tour. You know,
right.
we a couple albums and then we toured, and you know we were doing a little bit of each of our history, and that one came up. I had a different like hard rock version of it, and Pat was playing a riff, and I said, hey, why don't we use that? And Do You Think I'm Sexy? That's a cool riff, you know. So that's what we did. We transformed the arrangement using Pat's riff. And then I said, look, I'll sing it, and then you join me on the chorus, and you sing the bridge, you know? So that's what we did. So that's the only one on the record that I'm singing.
Another favorite is Cruisin', you know, because it doesn't...
Oh, yeah.
Denny Lane. I mean...
Denny
awesome.
Lane.
Yeah.
And that was I had a group called World Classic Rockers with Denny, and it was me and Denny and Bobby Kimball and Randy Meisner from the Eagles and Spencer Davis and two guys from
what a lineup.
Steppenwolf. And we go out and we play each other's songs, which is always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was doing this record and I had done a movie with Kelly Keeling, our singer.
Right.
Called Chasing Destiny. It had Roger Daltrey in it, and we wrote Angels for that movie, and I was in the studio with them, and I asked Denny if he'd put down, like, if he has something for a minute, I'd love to put him on the Guitars record, you know. He said, yeah, I have something, so we took him in the studio, and he did that, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, it's a fantastic album, man. I recommend it highly to everybody. If people were stranded on a desert island with an MP3 or disc player, this would be the only album you would need to survive on. Believe me.
Thank you. I never thought of it like that.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's all you need.
Hey.
Well, you got a lot of other projects going on, like you always do. Is there a band called Kodiak that you've been working on?
Yeah, I've been working on this band Kodiak.
Right.
They are this Greta Van Fleet band that seems to be exploding on the scene. That's sort of like Led Zeppelin. Well, my young band and the guitar players just turned 17. They do sort of like Van Halen music.
Right.
You know, it's like a guitar-oriented, 4-piece lineup.
Yep.
And they're really good. And I know the guitar player and the drummer for 10 years. You know, the drummer just turned 22, and I know him since he was 11. You know, and I met the family, and I've been sort of mentoring over them for the last few years. And then in August, I got really involved, and when they told me they wanted to try and move their music more Van Halen than they were, because they were like a punk band that had some Van Halen overtones.
Right.
And then they said, what about if we did like Van Halen, like Greta Van Fleet did Led Zeppelin? I said, that's a great idea, because labels are going to be looking for that now. You know? And so we had some showcases. We got a lot of interest in them, and it looks like in the next month or so we're going to get one or two tracks released just to start the ball rolling while we're still finishing the record deal, you know. And they're really good. They're really good. So we just did a showcase in New York at the Cutting Room. Had a few labels down there, a few agents.
Awesome.
And we're, trying to get the thing finalized with proper record deal. But in the meanwhile, we want to get into business, you know, and just release something. And the kids are always writing. They got a studio that their parents built in their house. So they're like the Van Halen brothers, guitar and drums, you know.
Right.
So they put all the song ideas together in their house, and then they'll send them to me. You know, put a quick vocal on it. They'll send it to me, and I'll sort of, you know, like a butcher, I'll take the fat off, or I'll add some spices to it, you know. I'll call them up and say, why don't you do this and do that? Let's edit this. Let's bring up the key and the solo to another key. Let's cut that chorus in half, or add more to the chorus, or do the chorus in double time, or, you know, just add arrangements and hook lines and lots of hooks, like Van Halen would do, you know.
Well,
it's funny because Van Halen used to listen to Cactus.
Right.
And like there's a piece on a song called She Said.
Right.
That's sort of like Eruption.
Yep.
But Eruption came from a Cactus song called Let Me Swim.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same idea.
Yeah.
So it's all like a complete circle.
Carmine, I give you a lot of credit, man, because you take the time with these young performers to help them out, and also with your published books. You know, you help a lot of people out, and there's a lot of guys that don't want to do that after a certain time. You know, they don't want to mess with it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to do it when I was in Vanilla Fudge. I was good. I was, you know, a rock star.
Right.
Then when I wrote my instructional book, Ludwig Drum Company explained to me that if you go out and do drum clinics, and we'll support you, we'll buy 1,000 books a year, and you'll sell books by doing the clinics.
Yep.
Like you go out on tour and sell records. I said that didn't make sense to me until then. So the first clinic I did for them was in Long Island in 1971, I think, and 1972, and the book had just come out, and I had 750 people at this clinic, and it was like crazy, you know, and I sold a lot of books. But Sam Ash was the store. They bought the books.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ludwig put me on other clinics, and they bought books. And before you know it, the first year I sold 3,000 or 4,000 books, and that was like amazing. According to a friend of mine, Joe Morello, who was a jazz drummer and had books out.
Right.
He said, "What are you kidding me? That's like huge sales." I said, "Really?" I was used to selling hundreds of thousands of records, if not.
Right.
You know, and, you know, so 4,000 books didn't make sense. Today, I'm still selling 4,000 or 5,000 books, you know, and they sell more than a record sell, you know, because their record sales are, you know, down to nothing because everybody's streaming and downloading.
Well, I'm an author too, Carmine, and let me tell you, that's a lot of books. It is a lot of books.
Sold over 4,000 books.
That's not bad at all.
400,000 books.
That's amazing.
That book. And my other book, you know, I've done probably, on last count, 6,500, which is okay. They tell me that's still in the top 5% of books that come out, because most books that come out sell less than 500.
Yeah.
You know, but I thought, you know, originally it was going to be on VH1 Books, so I thought we were going to really do great and be on the, you know, New York Times bestseller list.
Right.
They were distributed by a major company. But just as we finished the book, and they got me the writer, this guy Ian Giddens that wrote the Heroin Diaries with Nikki Sixx.
Right.
You know, we finished the book, and then VH1 went out of business.
Yeah,
so we had to go get another deal, and I didn't want to spend years trying to get another deal. So it took a while to get a book deal, because I'm not a lead singer, I'm a drummer. And I've heard that from the book company. Well, if he was a lead singer, you know, in front of all the crowd, you know, the incentive attraction, I said, boy, that's racist.
Yeah, it is. That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, so we did get a deal with an indie company, but they, you know, when we first released the book, they printed 3,000, and they sold the 3,000 out in the first 2 weeks. They were caught with their pants down.
Right.
And we had this momentum going, then we lost the momentum because it took another 2 or 3 weeks to print up more copies.
Yeah.
You know, and like you can't do that. You know.
Which one are you talking? Are you talking about the realistic rock drum method? Are you?
My Life is Sex, Drugs, and Rock,
okay.
actual autobiography book.
Right. That I didn't get to that yet, but I was talking about the realistic rock drum method, which was in 1972.
Yeah, that one's been doing great. You know.
Yeah.
That book has got me the biggest drum publishing deals in the history of drum publishing books. You know, and it's done amazing. You know. Really done amazing. Still going.
Yeah, it's way back. It's what, the big anniversary coming up or something?
Well, I guess in 2022 it'll be 60 years.
Holy crap!
Is that right?
That's unbelievable.
60 years? 72, 82, 92.
That's crazy.
2002, 2012.
Yeah.
50 years. Sorry, 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years. Right. Yeah, you're not that old.
No, but I'm definitely older than 50.
Well, so am I.
Right.
Well, you also got, which is cool, realistic rock for kids, which is awesome. You know, it's a book in 2 CDs. That's on Amazon. And of course, you got Ultimate Realistic Rock Drum Method book with 2 CDs, and you've got so much great material on Amazon. It's incredible.
Right. Yeah. It's all on Amazon. You know,
all on Amazon.
Yeah. The books are still in all those books are still in various music stores.
Right.
You know, that where there are music stores. You know, and some Barnes and Nobles.
And of course, Stick It is My Life of Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll, which is an incredible story. You know, that everyone needs to, I wish the PR people would have sent me a link to the book or something, because I haven't got a chance to read it yet.
Oh, I don't think we have a link to the book.
You don't have it on PDF or anything?
No, because I didn't want to do that. We didn't want to send it out to anybody in a PDF.
Right.
And then that's how you get bootlegged.
Yeah, well, my book got bootlegged.
What's that?
I'm an author too, and my last book got bootlegged. It's out everywhere.
I don't want to do that. It's bad enough the realistic rock has been bootlegged.
I know. I'm not getting paid for a lot of stuff.
So I mean, I was going to do that, and then I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that, because then, you know, somebody's going to send it to somebody somehow. Right. Somebody gets a hold of it from them, and then next thing you know, it's on some website, you know, and then there goes all my autobiography shelves.
But Carmine, does your music on YouTube, do you get paid at all for any of that stuff?
Say again?
Do you get paid from YouTube, from anything that you put on YouTube, the album?
Not that I know of.
Really? Oh, man.
I don't put stuff on YouTube.
That's other people that do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really, I never got into that, as an income stream, because it's so minute.
Because, Guitar Zeus, a lot of the songs are on YouTube.
They're on YouTube, and then, the labels put them up, as promotion.
Right.
So the labels, like in this case, if we put up Guitar Zeus, that my label put up, yes, I'll make some money off, and that's what my guy Robert DePaul is trying to do, monetize all this stuff that's on the YouTube about me.
Good.
But I haven't seen a dime from any of it.
Yeah, it's a different world today, isn't it?
It is. It's not about making money off the sales of your product. It's about going out and playing.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, I'm not getting enough hits on YouTube to make a difference in our gigs.
Right.
We're talking about people are making 20 million views on YouTube. Come on, my biggest one is probably BBA 1.8 or Blue Murder 1.8. It's not me personally.
Yeah.
It's a band. But even so, even when you keep hanging on, we've been up to 1.5, 2 million views, and then for some reason it comes down, starts again, you get another 2 million views.
Right.
But it doesn't make a difference in the attendance, really.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people cheat on YouTube too. They buy the views.
Oh yeah, I know. I tried to do that with Twitter. I bought when I first started Twitter. Somebody said, "Hey, you can buy Twitter views." You know, so I bought 5,000 Twitters. By the time I bought them, then like 2 months later, 4,000 fell off.
No, same thing happened to me. I did the same thing.
You know, so it's like that was a waste of time.
I know.
Yeah. But you know, I personally, I don't think anything really sells for my audience.
Right.
On Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. You know, I mean, it's good to, you know, anytime I put up something about, like, I just released a new album, or I got a gig coming up, I don't get that much response from that.
Right.
I get more response out of, you know, a cool picture of me playing with Blue Murder.
Right.
You know, something that, you know, I guess is different, you know. I guess these Facebook and Twitter and all these people don't want to look at something like it's an advertisement.
Yeah.
You know, unless you buy a banner or an advertising on Facebook.
Right.
And I don't really think it works that much, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I did some gigs with me and my brother that they did total Facebook advertising. We had 40 people there.
Yeah.
And normally, you know, we did 300 people.
Right.
On normal advertising. You know, 300-400 people, you know. And, you know, so I don't really think that Facebook stuff works.
Well, the live concerts, you know, you sell out all the live concerts, and especially every time you're with, you know, like a bunch of other legendary bands, you know, like you did with the Rock and Blues Fest, Hippie Fest, and all that kind of stuff, you know, and Ringo's got a good, you know, the way Ringo's and his all-star band does it, that's a great way to do it, I think.
Yeah, I think people approach me and say, why don't you do like Ringo does?
Right.
Just bring out, I mean, that's what we have. We have this Platinum Rock All-Stars.
Right.
You know, which goes out now, and there's different versions of it. Original versions had Gene Cornish from the Rascals, had Bumblefoot, had me, Rudy Sarzo, and Jeff Downs from Yes. You know, and then we go out, we did a few gigs, and it went well. But then it's very difficult to get everybody's schedule together.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, in Ringo's case, you know, it doesn't matter who his band is. You know, as Ringo All-Stars, he's going to play 5,000-6,000 seat arenas anyway.
Right.
So he can promise an artist, well, I got a 3-month tour and $7,500 a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of power.
Right. Yeah, Flo and Eddie.
He's one of the Beatles.
Flo and Eddie does a good job too. You know.
Yeah. You know, there's that Happy Together tour,
right.
But I understand they're having problems with it this year.
Really? I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, we're doing something called Legends in Rock, Legends of Rock tour with Vanilla Fudge. I think 10 years after, and a few other ones.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That should be good.
But it's different. You know, I mean, I would love to do an all-star Guitars tour, but you know, nobody knows the album yet.
Right.
You know, and even if it does okay, it's not going to. You know, it's not going to be like in the old days. And if you sold 300,000 or 400,000 records, you can go out with that.
Right.
You know. Now, you know, you don't even know what you're selling.
Yeah, it's totally different nowadays. You know.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I grew up and I made it in an era where you actually made money on your records and you made money on your live performances. And we came in at a time where everything was virgin, you know, including radio.
Right.
The FM underground radio was like, you know, FM underground, you know.
Yeah, we missed that. You know, I was a top 40 DJ back in the late 70s, and even back then the music was a nice mix. There's a lot of disco and stuff, but we had new wave and you know all that.
Yeah, but everything was played.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad time. But you're right. You know, radio sucks.
Yeah, I mean, my girlfriend's a radio, so she's been in New York, a radio chick.
Yeah, she's been there. You guys have been together forever, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, for years we've been together.
15 years, yeah.
And,
Congratulations.
That market she had like 800,000 people a day listen to her in New York.
In New York. Yeah.
Yeah. And, there's nobody doing that stuff anymore.
No.
That stuff, they won't put it on the radio anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, Howard Stern went to Sirius.
Right.
And he got that all that amazing money from Sirius. I don't even know if they ever made it back. But you don't hear any of that stuff. I mean, there's a few around the country. I know there's one in L.A. like that, morning show, and there's another one in Connecticut, I did some stuff with. But, that kind of radio doesn't exist anymore.
There's a lot of great new albums by these like legendary artists. I just had Leo Lyons on the show not long ago from 10 Years After, and he's with a new band, and there's no like you said, there's no radio, there's no outlet to play their music. And
there's no magazine.
No.
Like in Europe,
right?
There was never radio.
Right.
There was never There was lots of magazines, and a little bit of radio. So now we have a little bit of radio and no magazines.
Yeah.
What you have is the internet, and by the internet, you never know how many people are listening or what your market is, how many people are there. It's not like, we sell 100,000 magazines a month, or but now you don't know what you get. Even with podcasts, you don't know really what you're getting. You know what I'm saying?
Podcasting's gotten popular, though.
You may know, actually.
Yeah.
But as far as numbers go, it's not like you're played on a Q104 in New York, steady play. Yeah, you got hundreds of thousands of people listening to you every day.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, these numbers are nothing like that now.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, well, how do you find new bands? Guess what? I don't.
Yep.
Because I don't have the time to sit around on YouTube and put in new bands and sit there and listen, I mean, I used to turn on the radio and hear new bands.
Yeah.
It's kind of messed up.
Well, that plus record stores, I used to hunt for, really cool album covers, and they go, wow, I think I'll give these guys a listen, It
used to be fun going to a record store.
Yeah.
And just browse around,
Right.
You had everything that, then turn to CDs. You had CDs and records, and you had DVDs, and you had merch. There's none of that now.
No.
They got places that might sell some merch. They got Hot Tropic or something, but nobody sells any records. Amoeba in LA, I hear that they have a rough time. But in Japan, they still have Tower Records, and they have a bunch of them. And they still sell records and CDs.
Yeah, like even another great avenue there is Holland. Holland's still into all the rock, back in the they never gave it up, And
again, they have all the magazines.
Yep, you're right.
That are sold in the record stores too, probably.
Yeah.
And it's too bad. This country has become digitized, and to the point where you get played on Sirius Radio, you don't know who's listening.
True.
They have no way to count how many people are listening to that particular channel.
That's right.
Because they have 150 channels?
Yeah.
Or more. So you get played on, like we were playing with Vanilla Fudge on Underground Garage. We didn't see any spike in record sales, or any spike in anything.
Yeah.
Like when we went on the Ed Sullivan show, forget about it.
Right.
Spike unbelievable.
Sure.
Or you got played on nationwide radio all the time, or you played in all the major cities all the time. You see the spikes.
Well, Carmine, what about remember like the midnight special you remember the midnight special in concert and Don Kirshner?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
we were on there with Jeff Beck.
Yeah, I mean that was unbelievable.
That was a great show.
It was a great show.
That show that we did, two of the songs that we did are on YouTube.
Right.
Superstition keeps getting 1.8 million views, and then it falls off.
I checked that out.
Again, it's back again, 1.8 million views.
Right.
You know, and there's one called Morning Dew that doesn't get as many views. It's got about 30, 40, 50,000 that I sing that I look and I go, holy crap, I'm singing my ass off and I'm playing my ass off at the same time. You know, now you can hear my voice, I keep getting allergies and colds, and it always affects my voice. So right now I'm looking at hoarse.
You got a great voice.
We're going to do 4 Vanilla Fudge shows, and I know someone knows I'm going to want to hit so people get ready.
Yep.
I'm not going to get because of this hoarseness.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you got a great voice, man. You really do.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to mention a couple things. I think you're working on an unreleased Beck, Bogert, and Appice live concert from the Rainbow in London. Is that something you're working on?
Well, we have one mixed, and we're just trying to see if we can get it out.
Okay.
You know, it really is great, and I think Jeff approved it, and his manager and our manager are working out, trying to work on a record deal.
Right.
We'll let him take the lead, his manager, but, you know, so far it's been a while, and they haven't really finished it yet, so we'll see. Hopefully it'll come out.
Okay, and you're working on Cactus, maybe a 50th anniversary celebration?
Yeah, we're working on stuff for Cactus.
Right.
We're working on a new album. Now, McCarty is retired from Cactus.
Right.
Because he can't go on the road anymore. And we said, well, if you can't go on the road, no use to putting him on the album. So we got this guy Paul Warren that played with Rod Stewart for 14 years, and he played with Tina Turner and Joe Cocker. And I found him, and I told him, he's from Detroit. He used to sneak in to see Cactus play to different venues.
Right.
He was underage, and he plays very similar to McCarty, except with a lot more energy, speed. I call it McCarty on 10. Square 10. He's just amazing. So we've been doing new songs, and it sounds like Cactus. And we got the new bass player, James Caputo, plays with me and my brother in Drum War show, and he's a lot more like Tim than Pete Bramey was, and we don't need him to sing high parts because Paul Warren's a great singer.
Right.
So we still have the 3-part harmony when we need it with the lead singer, Jimmy Coons, but Jimmy Caputo's playing is this, God, he's amazing, and he sounds like Tim. So the band still sounds a lot like Cactus, except now the material has really gone up a notch, and it's really kick-ass, and it's really good songs. And the funny thing about Paul Warren is when he was 17, the first thing he ever played on that was a hit was Papa's Like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
By the Temptations.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So we just did a new rendition of that for this album, because the last shows we did last year, we would tell the people, that, Paul, when he was 17, he played on a song you might know. We're going to do that song for you now. We did that song, and they went crazy over that song. So we said, we should record it. So we came up with a cool rendition of it now that we've been working on. It really sounds great. And all the tracks we're doing are kick-ass. They're really great. And we have one slower blues that's really, really cool, too.
One of my favorite Cactus songs has always been Evil, the Halen Wolf classic. Yeah.
I think that's, if anyone would say, what are the most famous Cactus songs, I'd say Evil and Parchment Farm.
Right.
Right. And Parchment Farm was the predecessor to How for Teacher. That was the blueprint. That's what Alex told me.
Yeah.
And Evil is being done by so many different bands. And I just got an email from somebody that represents Clutch, the group Clutch.
Right.
Yeah, they're going in the studio right about now, and they're going to record Evil. There's another group called Blackstone Cherry did Evil.
Oh, yeah.
I know Dee Snider did Evil.
Yep.
Greta Van Fleet does Evil live. Me and Pat Travis did Evil. I think Evil's one of the famous, most famous Cactus songs.
And then with Beck, Bogert, and Appice, I think Superstition is probably one of the highlights.
Yeah, well, that's the one.
Yeah.
Because that one was written for Jeff by Stevie Wonder.
Yep.
By the time we recorded and got it out, he had Motown heard his demo for Death that he wrote for Jeff. That we changed. So when they wanted it out immediately, they released it. It went to #1. Then when ours came out, it sounded like a cover.
Right.
But our lyrics are a little different.
Oh, it's a great tune. You
and
guys
the song was written for Jeff by Stevie.
Yeah.
So, it's a crazy story.
You guys nailed it, man. And,
yeah, it was a great song.
Yeah. And of course, when you played with Pink Floyd, one of my favorite albums has always been Momentary Lapse of Reason. And when my daughter was young, I used to scare the crap out of her with Dogs of War.
Well, there you go. When Bob Ezrin called me and said I'm producing an album that's just screaming for Carmine drum fills. And I said, well, who's the band? And he said, Pink Floyd. I go, where's Nick?
Yeah.
He said, Nick will be there. They wanted some new blood and some new energy. I said, wow. I went down, spent the day, and it was quite an experience. It was great.
Yeah, you and Jim Keltner, I think, were all on the album, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on just one track. That's the one track they wanted me on, which is fine, because that was the most high energy drum extravaganza track on the album.
Yeah, I heard the way you first listened to it, you went to a record store and bought a cassette tape.
Yeah, because I recorded so many 24 tracks worth of drums, and they were putting it all together. And I kept calling Bob, saying, hey, how's it going? He goes, oh, in a word, fantastic. Like, okay. I said, when's it done? Well, in a few weeks. Call me back. I call him back. How's it going now? One the word, tremendous. I go, Jesus, Randy. I said, when can I hear something? That kept happening. And eventually I was in Canada doing a movie called Black Roses. And I heard the Pink Floyd record came out. So I went downstairs to the record store when they had record stores. And I bought the cassette. And I listened to it on my Walkman. I was blown away. Because he put all the different drum parts together. And it came up with an amazing drum part.
Did you ever see the film? The live concert film for that song. With the wolves with the red eyes.
I think I did. And Nick played it, right? Nick played it. It was live. Nick Mason had to play it, right?
Right. But
I think I saw it on TV.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I think I saw it on TV, and I was going, look, Nick trying to play my drum fills. That's pretty cool.
I just want to point out a couple of things from the book. One was your relationship with Sharon Osbourne. I'm Facebook friends with Lee Kerslick, and he's tickled pink that he finally got credit, from his albums with Ozzy, because he had an issue with Sharon for a long, long time, not getting credit.
What's the credit? He got the gold album, right?
Yeah, he finally got the gold album.
Yeah, well, he got screwed out of millions of dollars.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But, I feel sorry. Lee's, he's sick. He's got cancer.
I know.
Yeah.
Really.
Nice guy,
I saw him at the heavy metal awards in L.A., the Hall of Fame awards.
Right.
And I had Kodiak play on that show. Me and Vinny headlined the show that night. My brother. And I saw Lee, and he gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I know him from Uriah Heep days.
Yeah.
We used to tour with Cactus. I got to know him really well. I ran into him a bunch of times in Europe. And, when I heard about this thing with the album, I said, unbelievable. I don't even have a gold album for that album.
Yeah.
I should have it.
Right.
So I'm on it. And I was a co-producer on the 500 100,000.
Right.
And then she took me off it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But I was definitely on it.
Yeah.
And she's just unbelievable. You know, she screwed a lot. She screwed Bob Daisley too.
Right.
Screwed him. Screwed a lot of musicians on the way up.
And Ozzy sits quietly, just letting her do whatever. He just minds his own business, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Ozzy's the kind of guy that he needs to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when they were putting that band together, Ozzy was sitting next to me at the Rainbow, and I was talking to him, and I turned around, talked to a fan, turned my face back, and Ozzy's face was in his plate of spaghetti. You know? So one of the stories in my book, and my brother Vinny was asked to join the original band, and I said, where's it going to go? The guy can't even, sit at a table without his face falling into a bowl of spaghetti. So it would have probably been my brother Vinny on that.
Right.
In that first album, and he would have got screwed.
Yeah. But you told him not to do it, right?
I told him not to do it.
Yeah.
He ended up being in Sabbath instead,
Right.
And then I ended up playing with them. And they called me, I mean, they called me. I didn't call them.
Yeah.
They wanted me to join the band. They said Tommy Aldridge wasn't doing the job and blah, blah, blah. And then after, me being on the road with them, and I was doing master classes every day, getting a lot of press, she didn't like that.
Yeah.
She was pushing Jakey Lee, but she fired me and got Tommy Aldridge back.
Yeah.
Well, so what was the reason for doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah. But hey, it gave me a play with Ozzy credit, so that's all right.
Sure. Well, in the book, it says you slept with 4,500 groupies. Is that true?
Well, pretty close. We worked it out. We worked it out on a spreadsheet.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, but it was crazy days.
Yeah.
I mean, for the last 15 years, it's never stayed the same.
Of course. I hope so.
Yeah, well, before that, it never did. So,
the life of a rock star, man. I'm telling you.
But being with Leslie, a radio chick, was life changing for me. She's a great woman.
Now you hung out with Telly Savalas, right?
Yeah.
Well, what was he like? I love Kojak, man. He was awesome.
He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. Yeah, I brought him to Rod Stewart gigs, and one of my ex-wives was his niece. So when I started playing with Rod, we would go to England. He had an apartment in England, so she would go with me, and sometimes we would. If I was going out on the road from London for a few days, she would go stay with him. When I come back, I got some days off. We would go to the casinos and go to different places with him. And I brought him to see Rod Stewart group at Wembley, and Rod was very excited because he was a fan of Telly also.
Sure.
Yeah, there's some pictures on the internet of that.
I saw that. That's a great picture, man. Looks like you're having a good time there.
Yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
Yeah. And we were talking about the way the music industry is now, but, we know back in your day, there were some shady characters. But, I talked to Tommy James, and, of course, he had the Morris Levy thing,
Yeah.
And you guys had, is it Philip Basso, the Lucchese crime?
Phil Basile.
Basile, from the Lucchese crime family member that was your manager.
Yeah. He was our manager.
Yeah, but that's the way things were back then.
He was, but he wasn't like totally connected. He was connected, but he wasn't like, out there every day doing. He was doing his own business,
Right.
I don't know if I'm sure that he paid those guys off, because I remember some of my roadies would say that they would take a bag. They say, hey, take this bag to Paulie. There's a brown paper bag stapled together. So what do you think was in there?
You know, my family, my dad's family grew up in Bensonhurst, so they grew up. You know, he's Jewish. They had the Jewish side, the Italian side. He grew up with a lot of those mob guys too, you know, and I met a lot of those guys.
I used to play at their social clubs.
Oh, really?
I was a kid. Oh, yeah. Stolen book. You got to get a copy of the book.
I got to. It looks awesome, man.
Oh, man.
I mean, you played with everybody.
Well, no. I mean, I'd have to really think about that. The Beatles.
The Beatles, yeah.
Yeah. They're amazing.
Yeah. Just fill in for Ringo? Take Ringo's place?
Yeah, I mean, Ringo was... I think Ringo did a great job because I think he created... You know, it made famous like the drummer not just playing backbeat, you know, doing drum parts in songs, you know.
He was a good drummer. He was a really good drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is. You know, but he created drum parts.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You know, a lot of those early Beatles tracks, it wasn't just, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. It was like, you know, boom, blah, blah, bam. It was part of the thing. Then it was shows, which was vocals. That became part of the song, you know, part of the melody of the song.
Vanilla Fudge was, you guys were inspired by the Revolver album, right?
Yeah, totally.
Tomorrow Never Knows. Yeah.
Cool.
You know, a lot of people said that you should have taken over for the Who for Keith Moon when Keith Moon passed away.
Well, I was with the Coin Management at the time.
Right.
Kids, and they actually, the Who people called them and asked them if I would be interested, and I said yes.
Right.
But then I never heard nothing.
Huh.
Then Joe Bonham died, and then it was rumors I was going to be, me and Cozy Powell were going to join Led Zeppelin.
Right.
But that didn't happen either. I would have liked to play with the Who. I always liked the Who.
Yeah. Yeah, you would have fit in either way, you know, with Zeppelin or the Who. It would have been.
I would have definitely fit in.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I could have made myself fit in. If I didn't fit in, I could have made myself.
Sure.
So I could adjust my playing to whatever the situation is.
Well, Carmine, you're an incredible drummer, man. You're to me, you know, the top 3 of all time. One of my favorites as well is Billy Cobham. You know, he's a friend. Also, I've had Billy on the show many times.
I didn't hear what you said, Billy Cobham?
Billy Cobham, yeah.
Yeah, Billy's a great guy.
Yeah.
I know Billy a long time.
You when I think of drummers, I always think of the drummers today that haven't passed away. You and Billy Cobham are my favorites.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll keep going. He's a little older than me.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's from Panama.
Yeah.
Living in Switzerland.
Switzerland now, I think.
Yeah. Carmine, thank you, man, for being on the show today. I know you got some gigs coming up with Vanilla Fudge, and you got all kinds of things happening. We appreciate everything you do. Thank you for all the great music, and I hope to see you again in Florida.
Okay. See you soon, man.
All right, man. You take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Purchase Carmine Appice Guitar Zeus, available at Amazon.com. Also, Vanilla Fudge Live at Sweden Rock 2016. Spirit of 67 from Vanilla Fudge, which came out in 2015, is also an incredible album. And Carmine's book, Stick It, My Life of Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll, available also on Amazon.com. A fantastic read. For more information about Carmine Appice, visit www.carmineappice.net. He's also on Twitter, twitter.com/Carmine Appice 1. You can also visit the Vanilla Fudge site at vanillafudge.com, www.vanillafudge.com, and they're also on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Vanilla Fudge official site. Very special thanks to the wonderful Ann Layton of Media, Music Services, and Motivation for arranging this interview with Carmine Appice. And, of course, the dynamic duo of Doug and Don Newsom of BBS Radio for making the magic happen for each and every broadcast of Interviewing the Legends. If you have comments or suggestions for the show, contact me at interviewingthelegends@gmail.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Interviewing the Legends with Ray Schaff Show, for the very latest interviews. It's real news, people. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to Interviewing the Legends. Brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call 941-877-1552 or visit us at publicityworksagency.com, specializing in author and music artist publicity plans. We shine when we make you shine. Tune in to Interviewing the Legends every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time on BBS Radio, Station 1.